gonna try something different this time. Oh, it's fucking raining. I'm gonna try playing in a server with other people and see how that is. I did not know it'd be raining. But it's okay. Whoa. So many people. Shithead. Freaky. Special. Dude. Oh, this one looks like the fucking... I think it's Greg from Night in the Woods. I'm going to go towards the ocean. I have actually come with a topic to talk about today, and I'm gonna try to talk about it at the same time I fish, but I did write in advance some things, but I'm not gonna look at what I've written and just try to, I guess, repeat it from memory. I guess in a more natural way. So there's this field of psychology called humanistic psychology, which has an emphasis on self-awareness and growth and, I guess, self-actualization. I know that there's some associations with that phrase, but I don't know if I'm correct in saying this. I think it was a partial response to most fields of psychology having to do with what's focusing on the negatives in terms of, oh, we need to diagnose this problem, but it was more of a question of, oh, how can we improve this person? Like, I guess thinking about psychology in a positive direction rather than in the direction of, oh, there's a problem we need to fix. And there was this psychologist called Carl Rogers, who is argued to be one of the founding people of humanistic psychology. And in the 50s, he developed this concept within his, I think it's called the theory of personality. Don't quote me on that. But the premise was that congruence is the amount of alignment between our self-concept and our ideal self. So how we perceive ourselves in our mind and the type of person that we'd like to be. And his theory about, I guess, self-growth and development was that the smaller the gap is between your ideal self and your self-concept, the closer you can be to living authentically, ? I think it's more broad than that, but when someone gets to a point where they feel their behaviors are aligned with the way they'd like to be, it's a good path to more self-esteem and a sense of purpose and typically a stronger sense of identity too. And I think the congruence of self is a very powerful medium for personal growth. And even though it's derived from the self, you can still, it's not, I think on the surface it sounds egocentric, but I think generally when people find a strong sense of purpose, it often relates to community. Because how can you have a strong sense of purpose if the only one you're serving is yourself? And so, on that theme, we get to, I guess, the juicy thing I've been thinking about. I mean, it's not, like, it's the idea of what is a persona to us. Well, I hope whoever's listening is a furry, but a persona is a way to conceptualize yourself, and it's an abstract way to conceptualize yourself, and it exists in between your ideal self and who you are, because it's a concept of self that you both embody but can have characteristics that you don't exactly have. I mean, excluding true Sonas to some degree, but even for true Sonas, when you design a character for a true Sona, and you pick the species and you pick the colors and the features that it has, whether it has antlers or not, or the asymmetries, etc., there's still a concept of self that is somewhat idealized in a sense. Because if a true Sona is really just your, I mean, the truest true Sona probably wouldn't be a furry, which is why I think true Sonas aren't. Maybe true Sona's not. I don't know if it's not a hot take. I don't think true Sonas are real. To some degree. Okay, getting back to the point. I think on the theme of congruence, personas can be a very effective way to navigate self-discovery, because you get to flirt with both. You get to flirt with both your concept of self and also an ideal version of yourself, I think. Ideally, in my opinion. Obviously, there are cases where people make a Sona which completely differs from them and maybe has negative traits. But I think that because there's a lot of magic in creating an abstract representation of yourself, that it's, I think it's dangerous to have a persona with traits that you deeply think don't reflect. Oh shit, I lost my way back. Deeply reflect the ideals that we have for ourselves. I might have to double back on that. I wouldn't be surprised if there are cases where there's a benefit to having a more negative persona. But I'm not, at the moment, I'm not very convinced of it. And so, like, for myself, I have multiple Sonas, but oftentimes my Sonas are a more ideal version of myself, more confident, less scared to say what they think, probably a bit more bratty than I am, to some degree. Well, on that note, I feel like over time as I engage with my Sona, I've adopted their traits more. And I have found that to be magical and meaningful and helpful. And I think that's a fucking big fish. I think having a persona gives you a framework of something to aspire to. To be able to aspire to a concept of yourself, which is really strange because I think when we think about inspirations, we usually think of inspirations as external things, like characters in stories or famous people or maybe people we care about in our lives, but it's not usually, we don't usually look for inspiration in ourselves. And I think personas allow us to do that to some degree. So I want to ask you to think about, firstly, who is your Sona? How do they differ from you? And I guess what you can learn from your Sona. Something I want to bring up, but might shift the conversation in a weird direction, is the parallels between personas and I guess the history of our relationship with the divine. By that I mean, for example, in Christianity, we're made in the images of God. We're made in the image of God, and so the fulfillment of that is Jesus coming down as both fully man and fully God. And then if you think about the Bible calls people to be like the closer you are to being like Jesus, the closer you are to divinity, I guess. So there's this parallel in the pursuit of a higher form of ourselves. I have to expand on that, otherwise it'll sound a bit silly. I think there are themes of congruence in both pursuing the divine and trying to embody a persona. Not in the egoistic sense that you are God, but in the sense that you are pursuing a version of yourself which doesn't have an immediate physical embodiment. The embodiment is a gradual process, and it's attached to something magical and divine, in a sense. Part of me regrets starting talking about this because I know how silly it sounds if it's not. It's one of those thoughts which sounds a bit silly if it's not developed. I think there is somewhat a pursuit of the divine in chasing congruence and in chasing a union between your self-concept and your persona. And to me, that's part of what self-actualization is about. In the sense of pursuing something magical. When I started recording this originally, I only wanted to talk about the congruence thing and keeping it about the Rogers type of congruence. But I think it's valuable for me to learn to be okay with that, because that's the point of this. I mean, it's not the point of just the alpha process, it's the point of learning in general. And if I failed to communicate what I meant by what I said, then that's just part of the learning process. Okay, I think I'm gonna finish fishing these two octopi, and then I will end the episode after seeing what to buy. So yeah, in summary, congruence is cool, and fairies are cool, and personas are cool, and using personas as a medium of self-discovery and self-actualization is cool. Oh shit, I leveled up. Thank you. And yeah, I ranked up. Damn, I got 1K. I'm making a bag. Squid bait type. What the hell? Who is affording that? Oh, I need to start using my water buddies. Fishing buddies, I mean. Increase this. Oh, I can get the color. And boots. And chalk. Okay, let's change our fit and then I'll end the episode there. Clothes. Color. You can't even see my color. What a fucked up world. Ancient? What the frick? Oh, interesting. It's a strange color palette. What if I change my color? Fuck, I meant the other one. Ah shit, I look too much like my friend Sona. Oh, orange. Oh yeah, don't I have some? I'm gonna open my chest. Let's see. I got a flannel. I wanna open another chest. And a cosmetic starlight. I'm not trying to fucking look like Fantano, what the hell. Face. What? Starlight. Okay, that's a bit too crazy. Okay. I think that's it. Prop menu. Tackle box. I thought I meant to have... I thought I had some shit. Okay, never mind. But it's... Okay. That's episode 7. Thank you for watching, everyone. I've been the dog who fishes, and I've been fishing. Thank you, and fish out. I mean, dog out.